After reviewing both of these devices, I've realized that if you're looking for a high-end phone, you really don't need to spend more than $700. Honestly, the benefits you get from a $1,000 plus smartphone are so tiny. Like, the differences between these devices and a plus $1,000 phone is so small that it's just not worth paying extra for it. Now you have Samsung, who created this S20 FE, and they did this in 6 months in response to COVID and to the competition, who are releasing high-end smartphones at the $700 price range, like the iPhone 12, for example. But this does exactly what the more expensive S20s do, with a few cutbacks. And if you're looking at an S20 right now, there is zero reason to buy any other S20 besides this one. Then you have OnePlus coming out with the 8T. This costs $750, $50 more than the S20 FE. And I think that's a bad move because they're trying to compete with Samsung. I mean, like, look at these things. Come on, they look exactly alike. Very similar camera layouts, the company names on the bottom, the exact same dimensions, the same width, the same weight. These are competitors. But the thing is, OnePlus has always banked on the saying that you get more for less. And yes, there are some premium aspects to this phone that this phone doesn't have, but there's also things that this phone has that the OnePlus 8T doesn't. Now, if you're talking about design, I'm gonna give the edge to the 8T. Like, this is an all glass device with a metal frame. It feels more premium, and it just feels more comfortable to hold without a case. And with all glass products, you should take care of it, put it in a case, or you can wrap it in an awesome skin like this one from D brand. The S20 FE, on the other hand, feels more durable. Like, whenever I pick up plastic, some people will say it's not as premium, but I feel like it's a more durable phone. I'd feel more comfortable dropping this device than I would this device. This one might get scratched up a little bit quicker, but this one is going to break sooner if it consistently hits the floor. The displays are both 6.55 inches, the exact same size. They're OLED, they're 2400 by 1080. They have the same PPI, they're both 120 Hertz. The only difference is that the display on the OnePlus 8T is brighter. It peaks out at like 1100 nits. This one, I think around 605, which is not bad. Like, that's on par with the iPhone 11 Pro, so it's still a very bright display, but the 8T is brighter. Now let's talk notches for a second. I mean, OnePlus has the left-hand corner circular notch, whereas the Galaxy S20 has it directly in the center. They have this little border around it. It doesn't look as crisp and clean as, let's say, the regular S20. I think they did this in order to differentiate this phone from their more high-end devices. Either way, they're the same size hole. And whether you prefer it in the middle or on the left comes down to personal preferences. I will say that the OnePlus 8T takes much better selfies than the FE. There used to be a time where stereo speakers were reserved for high-end devices, but both of these phones have stereo speakers, and I want you guys to let me know which one sounds better in the comments below. Interestingly, they both share the same battery size, 4,500 milliamp hours, easily 6 to 7 hours of screen on time, no problem getting through the entire day. But there are some differences in terms of charging. Like, if you're a wireless charge guy or girl, like I am, S20 FE has your name on it. Even though it has a plastic back, it can be wirelessly charged. The 8T cannot. It's still reserved only for the 8 Pro. The 8T has a faster fast charge, which can go from 0 to 139 minutes, but you can't wirelessly charge it. Now, quite frankly, if this was 8 months ago before COVID, I would say, you know what? Maybe you prefer the faster charging. But because we're all stuck in our houses and both of these devices give really good battery life, I think wireless charging is the winner. So for a lot of people, the smartphone camera is the defining feature for their purchase, especially when you start inkling up to the more expensive price range. And the story still holds true for OnePlus. The picture quality is better. It's getting close. It's good enough, but I still think the cameras on the back of the S20 FE produce more consistent photos, especially if you love that exaggerated contrasty look that Samsung provides. This 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 8 megapixel telephoto lens produce good photos. I found they had more dynamic range, the exposure was more consistent, and when it comes to nighttime photography, so much better than what OnePlus can do with their 8T. Now, I don't want to get too spec crazy, but they are rocking the same Snapdragon 865. You do get 12 gigabytes of RAM with the 8T compared to 6 with the FE. They both feel ridiculously fast, but I did find the 8T to be a bit snappier. It didn't have to close out as many applications in the background compared to the S20 FE. Is it a big deal? No, but still, I thought I'd mention for the enthusiasts who are looking at these devices. Now, software is really personal, but I just don't like Samsung's One UI. I mean, every time I swipe to the right thinking I'm gonna get Google Home, I am presented with this monstrosity. Like, I don't want to be welcome to Samsung Daily. I want Google Home. And every time I swipe to the right on most Android phones, that's exactly what I get. Now, I know I can install a launcher, but I don't wanna do that. I just wanna use the device as soon as I get it. Now, in terms of theming, again, OnePlus's new Oxygen OS is a bit more One UI-ish, but I still think it looks a lot cleaner. And if I had to choose one, I'd still go with this one any day of the week over Samsung's. So here's the thing, like, you go for the OnePlus 8T if you want the slightly more premium design, the brighter display, the better front-facing camera, the faster charging, and the better software experience. However, if you prefer the better camera, wireless charging, micro SD card expansion, and slightly better speakers, you get the S20 FE instead. I still think the S20 FE is the better deal at $699. I think OnePlus needs to reduce the price of this phone by $50, then it becomes a much easier decision for all of you. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, because if you did, feel free to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.